Hey everyone, today we're going to go over multi-currency accounts and why they're such a useful tool if your business is expanding out internationally. Because once you start getting paid in other currencies or need to send money out to people in other countries, those little banking issues really start piling up. You got to wait for transfers, you're paying way more in conversion fees than you expected, and trying to track everything across a bunch of different accounts. Multi-currency solves most of that in one move. They'll let you hold different currencies in one place, convert only when you want, and send or receive payments using local rails. So you're not relying on international wires or paying fees just to move your own money around. And what's nice is you don't need a separate account in every country either. You can get local account details like a US routing number or a UK sort code all under one business profile. That means faster payments, fewer surprises, more control. Now, this video is sponsored by my friends over at Airwallex, which is actually pretty cool because we've been using them for a long time before they ever reached out about doing a sponsorship. Our company has run payments through the platform for a long time now, and it's always been super reliable for us. It just works. So it's nice to finally make that one official. If you want to check it out, there's a link in the description that'll take you to one of the best deals you'll find on their platform right now. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but it does help support the channel, and honestly helps me keep my job doing what I love here for you guys. So the way these accounts work is pretty simple. You got one business account, but instead of everything going in and out of your home currency, you can hold different ones like dollars, pounds, euros, all side by side. You don't have to convert money every time something comes in, and if a client pays you in pounds, you just keep it in pounds. If you need to pay someone in euros, you can do that straight from your euro balance. And with local bank account details in different countries, it's so much easier for people in these markets to pay you, because to them, it just feels like they're sending money to a local business. When you need to send money out, you're using the local rails, like ACH in the US or SEPA in Europe, which means payments get through quicker because you don't have to use any middlemen. And when you do need to convert, you can track the live rate and pull the trigger whenever it makes the most sense. So that's the basic idea. It's just a cleaner way to deal with international payments without all the usual delays and bank fees. And what this really fixes is all the random stuff that inevitably pops up once you start moving money between countries or convert your funds between currencies. Like, I don't know, transfers and payments, they can take so long, and they're gonna take a cut on the conversion along the way. You try logging into your bank to track, but there's really nothing you can do but wait, given all the intermediary banks involved. With a multi-currency account, most of that just goes away. It also helps when you got a few different tools. Maybe you invoice some clients directly, others pay through a marketplace, and then you got your payroll system on top of all that. If all that money lands in one place and stays in the currency you earned, it's just so much easier to manage. Now, obviously, this is not totally perfect. You might not be able to get the local bank details in every market you need. So now and then you'll have to send and receive through an international account number. And depending on which provider you're using, there might be a monthly fee for your account or minimum deposit requirement to activate the account. But for most businesses doing literally anything across borders, it's a huge upgrade. Not just in cost, but in how much less time you spend thinking about all this stuff. Because when this setup works, it's great. But unfortunately, not every provider really gives you the best version of it. Some say they'll support all these currencies, but then you go to get paid and realize you're missing local bank details. Or it turns out that your transfers are still going through the same slow global rails you were trying to get away from. And then, of course, there's the fees. A lot of them look fine at first until you try to convert some or pull your money out. That's when the markups show up. But by then, you're already locked into their system. That is why I ended up going with Airwallex. You get actual local bank account details for major currencies in more than 60 countries. Their foreign exchange markup is very clear, 0.5% on top of interbank rates for all the major currencies, which is basically nothing, by the way, in comparison. And the money moves super fast because it's running through local rails, not the international system. Most land same day, sometimes instantly. That ended up being one of the biggest changes, just not having to wait or explain holdups to people. Once you've dealt with a few platforms that, I wouldn't say lie, but hide stuff, this kind of transparency is all you want. Now, getting started was very simple. Airwallex lets you hold, convert, and manage in over 20 currencies in one global account. So I immediately set up the ones I use most, like major currencies, dollars, euros, pounds, Australian dollars, even HKD. And within a few minutes, I had proper local bank account details in those markets. Stuff like routing numbers and account numbers I could share out. I sent them to my local clients, they paid me like a local business, and the money showed up in whatever currency they sent. Euros stayed euros, pounds stayed pounds. Nothing got auto-converted or skimmed off the top without me knowing. And if I needed to use those funds, I could. If not, they just sat there till I actually had a reason to move them. I opened new currency accounts whenever I need, moved money around, issued a couple of cards, keep track of everything easily. The whole thing is designed to stay out of the way and let you handle what you need to. Once the money was sorted, I started messing around with the other tools, and a lot of this stuff, I solved the little things I was already annoyed by. Since I'm holding my multi-currency balance in my Airwallex account, I can issue unlimited physical and virtual corporate cards for my business or team expenses. Now, these cards are multi-currency Visa debit cards, and the spend gets deducted from the selected currencies in my balance. I literally have one virtual corporate card just for my online ad spend on each of the major platforms. When it comes to managing these expenses, I've used platforms where you basically have to have a wad of receipts or deal with a dang near non-functional reimbursement system. Here, I could just create a card, set a budget, and hand it off. The corporate card expense showed up in the dashboard, already tagged to the right team in the right currency. I didn't have to double check anything. Approvals were simple too. You can set who's allowed to do what, cap spending, or build in a couple of rules so you don't have to personally okay every single charge. I wouldn't say it's overloaded with features, but it does keep people from buying stuff they're not supposed to. And it's synced with accounting software without me ever touching it. I use QuickBooks and I opened it one morning, all the transactions were already there. Currency, timestamp, notes, all done. I'll admit, I'm not the best at keeping an eye on that stuff, and I usually don't notice until something breaks. So here, nothing did. It didn't feel like extra stuff that was tacked on. These are all things that slow you down once you're running this day to day. And here, it's trying to make it all just a little bit easier. But the best part was just that I could set it once and never think about it again. Like the foreign exchange rules. I get paid in different currencies, but instead of having to keep checking rates all the time, I set it to auto-convert once a balance passed a certain amount. And it was the same with payouts. I scheduled a few regular transfers, same date every month, same people, and they went out on their own. I didn't have to keep track or approve them every single time. And bill payments, at work too. I'd upload the invoice, confirm it, and that was it. No trying to find the right app or wait for reminders. It all got handled. Now, if you're techie and you need more control, they do have an open API that you can hit. I personally haven't used it. That's not my skill set, like at all. But if you're building something that needs to move money on its own, like a product or an internal tool, it's totally open. Honestly, most of the value here just comes from the simple stuff, the recurring tasks, the boring parts that usually slip through the cracks because let's face it, life gets busy. Having all of that run on its own meant fewer tabs open, fewer late payments, fewer loose ends at the end of the month. It's not flashy, but it saves time. And you feel it more and more the longer you use it. Because running a business with different currencies doesn't have to be complicated. The problem is, most setups still make it harder than it needs to be. A proper multi-currency account just gives you more control. You hold the currencies you earn, pay out in the ones you need, skip the fees, delays, and back and forth that usually slow everything down. For me, that's what Airwallex got right. I didn't layer on more work, it replaced the stuff that wasn't working. Clean transfers, real exchange rates, everything in one place. If you're looking for a simpler way to handle international payments, this is definitely one of the best options. So hopefully you found this all helpful, especially if you've been trying to figure out how multi-currency accounts actually work in real life. And like I said at the top, if you want to check out Airwallex for yourself, there's that link down in the description. It can usually get you some good deals that you wouldn't find anywhere else on their website. If you got any questions, please feel free to drop them in the comments. I will do my best to help you out. If you enjoy this kind of content, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.